The arrow pierced through Moreo's leg with a sickening thud, and she screamed, a raw, primal sound that echoed across the snow-covered courtyard. Blood bloomed dark against her black dress as she collapsed to the frozen ground, her hands instinctively reaching for the wound. But she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. Ahead of her, slumped against an ancient stone pillar, was Taeyun, motionless, a sword still protruding from his abdomen, his perfect face pale as death, his long dark hair matted with blood. "Ne sarung," Moreo whispered through gritted teeth, dragging herself forward. Each movement sent waves of agony through her body, but she pushed past it. "My love. Taeyun. Please." Above her, Choi Moran stood with the bow still in her hands, a cruel smile twisting her beautiful features. Beside her, Park Min-jae held the bloody dragon's bane sword, his chest heaving, his eyes wild with triumph and something else. Guilt, perhaps, or madness. "From the ashes we rise," Min-jae shouted to the hundreds of clan members gathered in the courtyard, his voice carrying over the howling wind. "A true dragon never dies." The clan members, dressed in expensive suits and traditional hanbok, dropped to their knees in unison, fists pressed to their hearts. "All hail Lord Dragon! All hail Park Min-jae!" Moreo's vision blurred with tears as she crawled closer to Taeyun's lifeless body. How had it come to this? How had a simple act of saving a patient's life in her hospital led her here, bleeding in the snow, watching the man she loved die for the second time? 72 hours earlier, Moreo Adenaku had been living a completely different life. The hospital speakers crackled to life with an urgency that made Moreo's heart skip a beat. "Dr. Moreo. Dr. Moreo Adenaku. Report to ICU immediately. Code Blue. Repeat, Code Blue." She was already moving before the announcement finished, her tired coffee cup abandoned on the nurse's station counter. Her white coat billowed behind her as she sprinted through the sterile hallways of Seoul General Hospital, her name tag bouncing against her chest. After a grueling 18-hour shift, exhaustion had settled into her bones, but the adrenaline of an emergency pushed it all away. "What's the situation?" she demanded as she burst through the ICU doors, already reaching for a pair of gloves. A nurse ran alongside her, clipboard in hand, voice shaking. Korean male, mid-20s, 3 gunshot wounds to the chest and abdomen. Massive blood loss, over 2 liters. Blood pressure crashing. "We can barely get a pulse." "Blood type? Do we have a match ready?" Moreo pushed through the trauma bay doors and froze. On the gurney lay the most beautiful man she had ever seen. Even covered in blood, even dying, his beauty was almost supernatural. His long, silky black hair spread across the pillow like dark water. Intricate tattoos covered his exposed chest and neck. Each one appeared to be a tally mark, though she couldn't focus on them now. His face was perfect, sculpted, peaceful despite the violence that had brought him here. 3 gunshot wounds marred his torso, blood pumping steadily from each one. "Doctor!" A nurse's sharp voice snapped her back to reality. "We need orders." "Right. Yes. Start compressions now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get me crash cart and prep for emergency surgery." "I need..." The heart monitor flatlined with that terrible, continuous beep. No. Continue compressions. Charge to 250. Moreo's hands moved on autopilot as she took over the compressions herself, feeling his chest beneath her palms. His skin was still warm, his body still fighting. "Come on," she muttered. "Come on, don't you dare give up on me." "Doctor, blood bank says they're out of his type," the assistant called out. "He's AB negative. Extremely rare. We won't have any for at least 30 minutes. "I'm O negative," Moreo said immediately. "Universal donor. Prep me for direct transfusion. And somebody charge this damn machine." "Clear." She grabbed the defibrillator paddles, placed them on his chest, and fired. The moment the electricity hit him, something impossible happened. Blue light exploded from his body like lightning, crackling through the air with visible energy. The EKG machine erupted in a shower of sparks, smoke billowing from its circuits. Every electronic device in the room flickered and died. The overhead light strobed once, twice, then steadied. What the hell was that? The assistant screamed, backing away from the bed. Moreo stared at her own hands, which tingled with residual energy. I don't know. But there was no time to think about it. The monitor was still flatlined. She returned to compressions, pumping his chest with steady rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Minutes ticked by. 3 minutes. 4. 5. Dr. Adeniku, one of the nurses said softly, he's been down for 6 minutes. We should call time of death. No. Moreo didn't stop. Sweat dripped down her forehead. Her arms burned with fatigue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doctor, please. He's gone. He's been down for 7 minutes now. I said no. Moreo's voice cracked. She couldn't explain it, couldn't rationalize it, but something deep inside her refused to let this man die. It was the same feeling she'd had when she was 12 years old, watching her mother's heart monitor flatline in a hospital just like this one, helpless and small. She'd vowed that day that she would save people, that she would fight death with everything she had. 1, 2, 3, 4. 8 minutes. The clock on the wall seemed to mock her. 8 minutes without oxygen. Even if she brought him back now, he would be brain dead, a vegetable. But still, she couldn't stop. A single tear rolled down her cheek and dropped onto his forehead. The tear seemed to shimmer where it touched his skin, glowing faintly blue for just a heartbeat. And then the monitor beeped. Once. Twice. A weak, stuttering rhythm appeared on the screen. We have a pulse. The nurse gasped. It's weak, but it's there. Moreo checked for herself, pressing her fingers to his carotid artery. There it was, faint but present, a miracle beating beneath her fingertips. Get him to surgery. No. Move. 3 hours later, Moreo sat in the hallway outside the ICU, still in her blood-stained scrubs, her head in her hands. She'd successfully removed all 3 bullets and repaired the damage, but the reality of what she'd done was sinking in. 8 minutes. His brain had been without oxygen for 8 minutes. The man was alive, but at what cost? He'd likely never wake up, and if he did, he wouldn't be the same person. The guilt was crushing. Maybe she should have let him go. Maybe keeping him alive like this was crueler than letting him die with dignity. Dr. Adeniku? A nurse approached cautiously. The patient is stable. We've moved him to ICU room 7. And there's something strange. The blood bank was restocked, but we ended up not needing it. When we checked his blood levels, they're almost normal. It's like he didn't lose 2 liters of blood at all. Moreo frowned. That's impossible. I saw the blood loss myself. I know, doctor. But the numbers don't lie. His vitals are. Well, they're perfect. Too perfect for someone who just underwent major trauma surgery. Something cold settled in Moreo's stomach. The blue electricity. The impossible recovery. What exactly was this man? She found herself drawn to his room, unable to stay away. He lay motionless on the bed, connected to various monitors, and 4 in his arm. She sat in the chair beside him and, almost without thinking, began to speak. I don't know who you are, she said softly, but I couldn't let you die. When I was 12, my mother was in a hospital bed just like this one. I watched her slip away, and there was nothing I could do. I was just a child. Helpless. That day, I promised myself I would become a doctor, that I would save people, that no one else would feel as helpless as I did. She reached out and gently touched his hand. His skin was warm, his fingers long and elegant. You were dead. 8 minutes. You should be brain dead right now. But your vitals are perfect. It doesn't make sense. Nothing about you makes sense. His finger twitched beneath her hand. Moreo jerked back, eyes wide. Did you just? His eyes snapped open, and for a split second, they glowed electric blue before fading to a deep dark brown. He stared at the ceiling, blinking slowly, then turned his head to look directly at her. Moreo stumbled out of her chair, backing toward the door. You're awake. You shouldn't be awake. You were dead. You were. He sat up smoothly, far too smoothly for someone who just had major surgery. The hospital gown shifted, revealing his chest. Where there should have been fresh surgical wounds, there were only faint pink scars, already healing. Where am I? He asked in perfect, unaccented English, his voice deep and resonant. What happened? You're in Seoul General Hospital, Moreo managed, her mind reeling. You were shot. 3 times. You died. I brought you back, but you were dead for 8 minutes, and you shouldn't be awake, you shouldn't even be alive. My brother. He swung his legs off the bed, moving with predatory grace. Where's my brother? Park Min-jae. Is he here? I don't know who that is. Sir, you need to lie back down. You just had major surgery. The door burst open and two security guards rushed in. "Sir, you need to return to your bed immediately." What happened next seemed to occur in slow motion. The patient moved with inhuman speed, disarming the first guard with a fluid motion that broke the man's wrist. He swept the second guard's legs out from under him, caught both men's weapons before they hit the ground, and had both guards on the floor in under 3 seconds. Moreo pressed herself against the wall, her heart hammering. The other hospital staff in the hallway screamed and scattered, but the patient didn't pursue them. He simply dropped the weapons and turned back to Moreo, his expression calm but intense. "Who are you?" Moreo whispered. "Someone who shouldn't be alive," he said, stepping closer. "And you're the reason I am. Which means you're in danger now. You're coming with me. Like hell I am. Then I'll make you." Before she could react, he picked her up effortlessly, throwing her over his shoulder. "Put me down. This is kidnapping." "Security." Moreo pounded on his back, kicking her legs, but it was like hitting solid steel. She watched as the remaining security guards saw his face and immediately backed away, one of them pulling out a phone and speaking rapidly in Korean. Everyone was afraid of him. Who was this man? He carried her through the hospital with confident strides, ignoring her protests. In the parking lot, he finally set her down by her car. "Keys," he demanded. "No." He reached into her coat pocket, when had he gotten so close, and pulled out her keys. Her car beeped when he pressed the button. "That's theft." She protested. "I'm borrowing it." He opened the passenger door and guided her in with a firm but gentle hand. "You'll get it back." "Where are you taking me?" "I have patience, I have a life." He slid into the driver's seat and turned to face her, his dark eyes intense and serious. "Listen to me very carefully, Dr. Adenaku. The men who shot me wanted me dead. When they find out you saved me, and they will find out, you become a loose end. They'll kill you to get to me. Then go to the police." A bitter laugh escaped him. "The police? Half of Seoul's police force is on my family's payroll. The other half is too scared to touch us." "Your family?" A cold feeling crept up Moreo's spine. "The Park clan. You might have heard of us. We control Seoul's underground, the port trades, and most of South Korea's black market operations. My father is Park Kong-aseo. Some call him Lord Dragon." Moreo's blood ran cold. Even she, a foreigner, had heard whispers of the Park family, the most powerful and feared mafia organization in all of Asia. You're Mafia." "I prefer protector of ancient secrets, but yes, Mafia works." He started the car. "And you just saved the life of someone very important. That makes you either very valuable or very dangerous to the people who wanted me dead. And you expect me to just come with you?" He paused, his hands on the steering wheel, and for a moment, his expression softened. "I could feel you, Dr. Adenaku. When I was dead, I felt your hands on my chest, trying to restart my heart. I felt your determination, your refusal to give up even when everyone else had. You saved me when you could have let me die." He looked at her, and she saw genuine emotion in his eyes. "You saved me. I owe you my life, and I pay my debts. So I'm keeping you alive, whether you like it or not." Moreo swallowed hard. "How are you even walking? You had 3 gunshot wounds. I removed 3 bullets from your chest cavity. You should be in intensive care for weeks." He lifted his hospital gown slightly, revealing perfectly sculpted abs and nothing else. No wounds. Just faint pink scars that seemed to be fading even as she watched. "This isn't medically possible," she whispered, reaching out to touch the scars before she could stop herself. His skin was warm, the muscle beneath firm. "I know. I heal fast. Always have. Faster than normal humans." He pulled the gown back down. "But this was different. I actually died this time. And I've never died before." "Never. Before?" Her scientific mind struggled to process what he was implying. He met her eyes, and she saw centuries of weariness in their depths. "I'm 127 years old, Dr. Adenaku. And you just made me realize I might actually be immortal." The car fell silent except for the hum of the engine as they drove through Seoul. Moreo stared at the man beside her, trying to reconcile everything she'd just heard with her medical training, her understanding of science and reality. 127 years old. Immortal. It should have been impossible. It was impossible. And yet, she'd watched him die and come back. She'd seen his wounds heal impossibly fast. The evidence was literally sitting next to her, driving her car. "You're serious," she finally said. It wasn't a question. I was born in 1898, Taeyong replied, his eyes on the road. I've lived through the Japanese occupation of Korea, the Korean War, the division of the country, the modern era. I've watched Seoul transform from ruins to one of the world's most advanced cities. And through it all, I've aged. Slowly. Very slowly. I've looked 25 years old for the past 80 years. But you can die. You did die. For the first time in my memory, yes. His jaw tightened. Which means someone figured out how to kill me. Or thought they had. Moreo's mind raced, her medical curiosity overtaking her fear. Your cells must regenerate at an exponential rate. The healing factor I witnessed in the hospital. Do you have other enhanced abilities? Strength? Speed? A ghost of a smile crossed his face. Yes. I'm about 3 times stronger than a normal human. My reflexes are faster. My senses sharper. I can hear your heartbeat from here, for instance. It's racing, by the way. Because I've been kidnapped by an immortal Mafia boss. This time he did smile, and it transformed his face from coldly beautiful to devastatingly handsome. When you say it like that, it sounds dramatic. Despite everything, Moreo felt a laugh bubble up in her chest. The absurdity of the situation was almost too much. This is insane. This entire situation is insane. Welcome to my world, Dr. Adenaku. Moreo, she heard herself say. If you're going to kidnap me, you might as well use my first name. Moreo. He tested the name on his tongue, and she felt a strange flutter in her chest at the way he pronounced it. It's beautiful. What does it mean? It's Yoruba. Nigerian. It means I have found joy. Then your parents chose well. He glanced at her. I'm Taeyong. Park Taeyong. Nice to meet you, Taeyong, she said dryly. Under completely normal circumstances. They drove in a more comfortable silence for a while as the city gradually fell away behind them. The buildings grew sparser, the roads narrower. Snow began to fall, light at first, then heavier. The landscape transformed into something otherworldly. Mountains rose in the distance, their peaks hidden in clouds, everything covered in pristine white. Why are you telling me all this? Moreo asked eventually. About your age, your abilities. Surely that's dangerous information. Because you need to understand what you've gotten involved in, Taeyong said seriously. My family has guarded a secret for 800 years. We protect the tomb of the Dragon Emperor, an ancient being who was truly immortal, who could not be killed by any mortal weapon. The prophecy passed down through our family says that his power would eventually pass to someone in our bloodline. The sign would be unmistakable. When death cannot claim the chosen one, immortality will mark the true dragon heir. And you think you're this heir? I think I might be. My extended lifespan, my healing ability, I always thought I was just different, special, but never truly immortal. Death was still a possibility, even if it was harder to achieve. He paused. But today I died. My heart stopped for 8 minutes. And I came back. That's never happened before. So the prophecy is true. Maybe. But there's a problem. His hands tightened on the steering wheel. My brother, Min Jae, was born to rule. He's the legitimate heir, born from my father's marriage. I'm the bastard son, born from a forbidden love affair. By all rights and traditions, Min Jae should be the next Lord Dragon. It's all he's ever wanted, all he's trained for his entire life. Understanding dawned on Moreo. And if your father finds out you're the one from the prophecy, it would destroy Min Jae. He already resents me because our father shows me more affection. If he discovers that I'm the true heir according to ancient prophecy, that jealousy could turn into something much darker. Moreo studied his profile. You love your brother. He's my brother. Of course I love him. Even though he might have tried to kill you? Taeyong's jaw clenched, a muscle ticking in his cheek. You don't know that. 3 shots to vital organs. Close range, precise placement. That's not a warning shot, Taeyong. That's an execution. And you said the attackers made it look like another clan's work. Who else would know exactly how to fake that? Who else would benefit from your death? Min Jae wouldn't, but his voice lacked conviction. You also said he wants the throne more than anything, Moreo pressed gently. I've seen what jealousy does to people. I've seen family members turn on each other in hospital waiting rooms over inheritance. And that's just money. This is power over an entire criminal empire. Taeyong was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was heavy with pain. If you're right, if my own brother tried to kill me, I can't let him know I survived. Not until I know the truth. They rounded a curve and massive iron gates appeared ahead, seeming to materialize out of the falling snow. Armed men emerged from the shadows, some in expensive suits, others in traditional Korean hanbok, all carrying weapons. Guns and bows were pointed directly at the car. Moreo's breath caught in her throat. "Oh my god." "It's all right," Taeyong said calmly, putting the car in park. "They're mine." He stepped out of the vehicle and the transformation was immediate. Every single guard dropped to one knee in unison, pressing their fists to their hearts in salute. "Young master." They called out in Korean. "Welcome home." Taeyong moved around the car and opened Moreo's door, extending his hand. She took it, her legs shaky as she stepped out into the snow. His hand was warm and strong, steadying her. Together, they walked through the gates, and Moreo's breath caught for an entirely different reason. Before them lay a compound that seemed to exist outside of time, traditional Korean palace architecture mixed seamlessly with modern security features. Curved roofs with upturned eaves covered buildings made of dark wood and white stone. Guards in suits stood beside others in historical clothing. High-tech cameras were mounted on ancient-looking walls. Snow fell gently over everything, making it look like a painting come to life. "This is beautiful," Moreo whispered. "This is home," Taeyong replied. "Welcome to the Park family compound." The palace doors opened, and a man stepped out who could only be Taeyong's brother. Park Min-jae was equally handsome, with similar features and build, though his hair was shorter and styled differently. For a split second, pure shock flashed across his face when he saw Taeyong. Shock followed immediately by something darker. Rage maybe. Or fear. But then his expression smoothed into a mask of joy and concern. "Taeyong. Brother." Min-jae rushed forward, pulling Taeyong into an embrace. "Thank God you're alive. When I heard you were attacked, I feared the worst." But Moreo was watching his eyes over Taeyong's shoulder. They were cold, calculating, furious. This was not the expression of a relieved brother. This was the expression of someone whose plan had failed. A woman appeared behind Min-jae, beautiful, elegant, dressed in an expensive silk hanbok. Her eyes immediately locked onto Taeyong with an intensity that made Moreo's skin crawl. "Appa!" the woman cried, using the Korean term of endearment. She ran to Taeyong, throwing her arms around him the moment he stepped back from Min-jae. "Thank God you're safe. Who did this to you?" Her hands roamed across his chest, ostensibly checking for injuries, but the touch was intimate, possessive. Moreo felt her stomach drop. Of course he had a girlfriend. A beautiful Korean girlfriend who belonged in his world. "I'm fine, Miran," Taeyong said, gently extricating himself from her grasp. "This is Dr. Moreo Adenaku. She saved my life." Choi Miran's eyes shifted to Moreo, and the hatred in that gaze was like a physical blow. It was there and gone in an instant, replaced by a sweet smile, but Moreo had seen it. "How wonderful," Miran said in accented English, her tone sugary sweet. "Thank you so much for saving our Taeyong." "I was just doing my job," Moreo replied carefully. "Still, you must be exhausted. Let me show you to a guest room where you can rest." Miran linked her arm through Min-jae's, making her allegiance clear. She was Min-jae's girlfriend, not Taeyong's. So why did she look at Taeyong like she wanted to devour him? They were led through the compound to a throne room that took Moreo's breath away. It was massive, with high ceilings supported by carved wooden pillars. Traditional paintings adorned the walls, and at the far end, on an elevated platform, sat an ornate throne. In it sat an elderly man who radiated power despite his obvious frailty. An oxygen tube was barely visible beneath his nose, and his hands trembled slightly, but his eyes were sharp and knowing. "Father," Taeyong said, dropping to one knee. Min-jae did the same. Park Kun-seo, Lord Dragon, removed his oxygen mask and spoke in a voice weakened by illness but still commanding. "My son, you have returned." Then he switched to English, his accent thick but understandable. "And you have brought a guest." "This is Dr. Moreo Adenaku," Taeyong said. "She saved my life when I was ambushed." Kun-seo's ancient eyes studied Moreo with an intensity that made her feel like he could see straight through to her soul. "A foreign doctor saved my son's life. The Park family is in your debt, Dr. Adenaku." Moreo bowed awkwardly, unsure of the proper etiquette. "I was just doing my job, Lord Park." "You will stay here as our honored guest," Kun-seo declared, "until those who attacked my son are found and dealt with." "That's very kind, but I really should return to the hospital." "It's not a request," Taeyong interjected, his voice firm. It's for your safety, Moreo. Kinesio's eyes flickered between them, noting the use of her first name, the protective stance Taeyong had taken. A small smile crossed the old man's face. Come, Taeyong. We must speak privately. To Moreo, he added, please make yourself comfortable. You're safe here. After the brothers and their father left, Miran approached Moreo with that same sweet smile that didn't reach her eyes. Let me show you to your room. You must be so tired. As they walked through the corridors, traditional artwork and weapons mounted on the walls, the architecture a perfect blend of history and luxury, Miran kept up a steady stream of seemingly polite conversation. So you're a doctor in Seoul? Miran asked. That must be so interesting, treating all kinds of people. It has its moments, Moreo replied carefully. And you saved Taeyong. How fortunate that you were the one on duty. There was something pointed in her tone. He's very important to this family. To me. I didn't realize you two were together. Miran laughed, a tinkling sound that was somehow threatening. Oh, I'm with Min-jae. But Taeyong and we grew up together. I've known him for many years. I understand him in ways that. She looked Moreo up and down. That outsiders never could. They arrived at a guest room, traditional Korean style with modern amenities. A low bed with silk covers, elegant furniture, a private bathroom visible through a sliding door. I hope you'll be comfortable, Miran said, dropping the pretense of sweetness. Her English became more precise, the accent sharpening. But don't get too comfortable. Taeyong belongs here, with his family, with people who understand his world, not with foreign doctors who stumbled into his life by accident. I'm only here until it's safe to leave, Moreo said firmly. I have no intention of. Good. Miran's smile was pure ice. Because Taeyong is special. More special than you could possibly understand. And he will fulfill his destiny here, with his own people. Remember that, Dr. Adenaku. She left, closing the door behind her with a soft click that somehow sounded like a threat. Moreo sank onto the bed, her mind reeling from everything that had happened in the past few hours. She'd saved a patient, been kidnapped, learned about immortality and ancient prophecies, and been brought to a secret Mafia compound hidden in the mountains. And now she was caught in what appeared to be a dangerous love triangle, or quadrilateral, that she wanted no part of. But as she touched her lips, remembering the warmth of Taeyong's hand in hers, the gentleness in his eyes when he looked at her despite his dangerous nature, she wondered if it was already too late to extract herself from this situation. In a private chamber, Taeyong knelt before his father while Min-jae stood to the side, his expression carefully neutral. Tell me the truth, my son, Kaseo said in Korean. How bad were your injuries? Bad, father. I should have died. But you didn't. Taeyong hesitated. No. Katha's eyes bore into him. The doctor. I saw something in her eyes. She witnessed something. Tell me. There was a long pause. Finally, Taeyong spoke quietly. My heart stopped for 8 minutes. She brought me back. And when I woke up, I was completely healed. The room fell silent. Min-jae's face went pale. Katha's eyes filled with tears. The prophecy, the old man whispered. When death cannot claim the chosen one, immortality will mark the true dragon heir. It's you. You're the one. Father, no, Taeyong protested. Min-jae is. Min-jae is my legitimate son. I love him with all my heart. Kamesio's voice was heavy. But the dragon's power doesn't care about legitimacy or love. It chooses who it chooses. Min-jae's hands clenched into fists at his sides, his whole body rigid with tension. You can't tell anyone, Taeyong insisted. Min-jae should rule. He's been trained for this his whole life. I'll protect him from the shadows. But the throne is his. And what if he's the one who tried to kill you? Kameo asked quietly. Taeyong's head snapped up. You knew? I suspected. Min-jae has been restless lately. Jealous. The old man's gaze shifted to his other son. Tell me, Min-jae. Did you send those men? How can you even ask me that? Min-jae's voice shook with emotion. Whether from genuine hurt or from being caught, Taeyong couldn't tell. He's my brother. Answer the question. No. I would never, Min-jae's eyes blazed. Is this what it comes to? You love him so much that you'll believe he's the chosen one, that I'm a would-be murderer? I've dedicated my entire life to this family, to our legacy, and still it's always Taeyong, Taeyong, Taeyong. Min-jae, Taeyong started. Don't. Min-jae pointed at him, his fingers shaking. I'm tired of your false modesty, of you pretending you don't want power when father hands you everything. The prophecy chooses you, How convenient. How? That's enough. Kang Seo's voice, though weak, cut through the argument. He was seized by a coughing fit, and both brothers rushed to his side. When the coughing subsided, blood flecked his lips. I'm dying. The cancer is in my bones now. I have weeks, perhaps days. Father, both brothers said simultaneously. The clan needs a true dragon to lead them, Gao continued, or will be seen as weak. Other families will attack. But I won't force this decision. Taeyong, keep your secret if you must. Min-jae, prove yourself worthy of the throne through your actions, not your birthright. His eyes closed, exhaustion overtaking him. Now leave me. Both of you. In the hallway, the brothers stood in tense silence. Did you? Taeyong finally asked. Did you send those men? Min-jae's face was unreadable. Would you believe me if I said no? I want to. But you don't. Min-jae's laugh was bitter. That doctor of yours has poisoned you against me already. Or perhaps you've never trusted me at all. That's not true. Isn't it? Min-jae stepped closer. Tell me, brother. If father declares you the heir tomorrow, would you refuse? Would you truly give up the power of immortality, of being the dragon heir, for my sake? Taeyong met his eyes. Yes. Without hesitation. I don't believe you. Min-jae turned to walk away, then paused. That doctor saved your life. But be careful, Taeyong. Sometimes the people we save become our greatest weakness. Remember that when your enemies come calling. That evening, Maria was provided with traditional Korean clothing, a beautiful hanbok in deep purple silk with intricate embroidery. A servant helped her dress, explaining in broken English that dinner was formal, that she would be dining with the family and the clan elders. Maria's nerves were already frayed, but she forced herself to stay calm. She was a trauma surgeon. She had handled life-and-death situations. She could handle a dinner party. The dining hall was magnificent, with a long table that could seat 50 people. Tonight, about 20 were present, clan elders in traditional dress, Min-jae and Miran, Taeyong, and Lord Kazao at the head of the table. Maria was seated between Taeyong and Min-jae, with Miran directly across from Taeyong. The woman's eyes never left him. The food was incredible, traditional Korean dishes that Maria had never tried before. Under different circumstances, she would have enjoyed exploring the flavors. But the tension at the table was suffocating. Dr. Adenaku, one of the elders, said in careful English, "You must find our world very different from what you're accustomed to." "It's certainly unique," Maria replied diplomatically. Min-jae turned to her with a charming smile. "Tell me, doctor, in your medical opinion, a man who survives 3 gunshots to vital organs and is walking the next day. What would you call that?" The table fell silent. Every eye turned to her. "I would call it remarkable," Maria said carefully. "Some people have stronger constitutions than others. Better healing factors. Or perhaps," Min-jae continued, his smile not reaching his eyes, "something more than human? Something supernatural?" "Brother," Taeyong's voice carried a warning. "I'm simply curious about our guest's professional opinion," Min-jae said innocently. "After all, she saved your life. Surely she noticed something unusual." Maria felt Taeyong's hand briefly touch hers under the table. A warning, a comfort, she wasn't sure which. "Every patient responds differently to trauma," she said. "I've seen people survive impossible injuries and others die from minor ones. The human body is remarkably resilient." "How diplomatic," Miran purred from across the table. In Korean, she added something that made several elders shift uncomfortably. Taeyong's jaw clenched. "What did she say?" Maria asked quietly. "Nothing important," Taeyong replied. But Min-jae, apparently enjoying the tension, translated with false cheerfulness. "Miran suggested that perhaps you should examine our father as well, since you're so skilled at saving lives. His cancer has been resistant to all treatment. Maybe you could work a miracle for him too." All eyes turned to Kang Seo, who had been silent throughout the meal, his food barely touched. "That's very kind," the old man said, "but I'm afraid my condition is beyond medical intervention. The dragon's curse, they call it. Those who guard the dragon's tomb rarely live to old age." "Nonsense, Father," Min-jae said. "I'm sure Dr. Adenaku would be happy to at least examine you. Wouldn't you, doctor?" Maria felt trapped. "I'm a trauma surgeon, not an oncologist, but I'd be happy to offer what help I can." "Excellent." Miran clapped her hands together. "Why don't you examine him after dinner? In his private chambers?" Something about the way she said it made Maria's skin crawl, but she couldn't refuse without seeming heartless. After the meal, Miran personally escorted Moreo to Kang Seo's chambers. The hallways were dimly lit, traditional lanterns casting dancing shadows. You know, Miran said conversationally, Taeyong has always had a savior complex. He sees a stray dog, he feeds it. He sees someone in trouble, he helps. It's one of his most admirable qualities. And one of his greatest weaknesses. I'm not sure what you're implying, Moreo said. I'm not implying anything. Miran stopped outside an ornate door. I'm simply saying that Taeyong's gratitude toward you for saving his life might seem like something more than it is. Don't mistake his sense of obligation for genuine feeling. She smiled sweetly. He'll protect you because he feels he must. But when this is over, when you're safe, he'll return to his real life. To his family. To people who truly understand him. Before Moreo could respond, Miran opened the door. Lord Dragon is waiting for you inside. Take your time. The door closed behind Moreo, and she found herself alone in a large, traditionally decorated room. Gao sat in a chair by the window, his back to her, perfectly still. Lord Park? Moreo approached cautiously. I'm not sure what I can do to help, but I'm happy to. She froze. Something was wrong. Kamesio's breathing was too shallow, too irregular. Sir? Can you hear me? She rushed to his side, checking his pulse. It was thready, weak, his pupils unresponsive when she checked them. Oh God. Help. Someone help. The door burst open. Taeyong rushed in, followed by Min Jae, guards, and several elders. What happened? Taeyong demanded. I don't know. I just got here and he was already... Moreo was doing chest compressions, checking for breathing. He's been poisoned. I can smell it. Bitter almonds, cyanide maybe, or something similar. What did you do to him? Min Jae's voice was full of rage. He grabbed Moreo's arm, pulling her away from his father. Nothing. I just got here. Miran brought me. Moreo looked around wildly. Where is she? Where's Miran? Guards, seize her, Min Jae ordered. No. Taeyong stepped between them. She's trying to save him. She was alone with him. She's a stranger, Taeyong. We don't know her. Moreo renewed her efforts, ignoring them. I need activated charcoal for fluids. Atropine if you have it. Kato's eyes suddenly flew open. With surprising strength, he grabbed Moreo's wrist. His lips moved, forming words in Korean that came out as a whisper. What did he say? Moreo asked desperately. Taeyong's face had gone white. He said, Miran. Kamesio's grip loosened. The heart monitor, someone had brought in medical equipment, flatlined with that terrible, continuous tone. No. Moreo resumed compressions, but she could feel it was too late. The poison had worked too quickly, had been too potent. After several minutes, she had to admit defeat. I'm sorry. He's gone. Taeyong collapsed beside his father's body, gathering the old man in his arms. The sound that came from him was pure anguish, a grief so deep it seemed to shake the very walls. Father. No. Not like this. Min Jae stood frozen, his face a mask of shock and pain. Then, slowly, his expression hardened. Lock her in the dungeon, he told the guards, his voice cold. She'll face trial for murder at dawn. Taeyong. Moreo struggled as guards grabbed her arms. Your father said Miran. He said her name. She brought me here. She must have poisoned him earlier. Miran was with me during dinner, Min Jae said flatly. Multiple people saw us together the entire time. Then she poisoned him before. Please, you have to believe me. Taeyong looked up at her, his face streaked with tears, his eyes torn between grief and doubt. Take her to the holding cells, he finally said. Gently. No one harms her. But I need time to think. Taeyong, please. Moreo's voice broke. I didn't kill your father. I would never. The door slammed shut as the guards dragged her away. She was taken deep into the compound, down stone stairs that seemed to descend forever, into a dungeon that looked like it belonged in a medieval castle. They put her in a cell, clean but sparse, with only a thin mat and a bucket. Moreo sank onto the mat and let herself cry. Everything had gone so wrong so fast. She tried to help, tried to save Kang Seo, and now she was being framed for his murder. And the worst part was seeing the doubt in Taeyong's eyes, the moment when he wondered if maybe, just maybe, she could have done it. Hours passed. Moreo had no idea how many. Then she heard footsteps, and Taeyong appeared outside her cell. He looked haggard, his eyes red-rimmed, his usual perfect composure shattered. "Tell me the truth," he said without preamble. "Did you kill my father?" "No." Moreo stood, walking to the bars. "I swear on my mother's grave, on everything I hold sacred, I didn't kill him. Miran brought me to those chambers. Your father was already poisoned when I arrived. He tried to tell you." He said her name. "Miran was with Min Jae during dinner. She has an alibi. Then she poisoned him earlier. Taeyong, think about who benefits from your father's death. Who wanted him dead before he could name an heir?" Taeyong's hands gripped the bars. "The elders have called for trial by combat at sunset tomorrow. You need a champion to fight for you." "I'll do it." "No." Horror flooded through Moreo. "That's exactly what they want. Don't you see? This is a trap to get you killed. I can't die, remember? I'm immortal. You don't know that." Moreo grabbed his hands through the bars. "You died in my hospital. 8 minutes, Taeyong. What if you can die? What if the next time, I'm not there to bring you back?" He turned his hands to grip hers, his touch warm and strong. "Moreo, don't you dare say goodbye to me," she whispered fiercely. "Don't you dare. Listen to me." He cupped her face through the bars, his thumbs brushing her cheeks. "I felt you when I was dead. I felt your hands on my chest, trying to restart my heart. I felt your desperation, your refusal to give up. Do you know what that means to someone who's lived as long as I have? To be worth saving? To be worth fighting for?" Tears streamed down Moreo's face. "Taeyong, you made my heart beat again," he said softly, switching to Korean. "사랑해요. 사랑해요." Then back to English. "I love you, Moreo. For the first time in 127 years, I feel truly alive. And it's because of you." "Don't say that like it's goodbye," Moreo sobbed. "Please don't." He leaned forward, pressing his lips to hers through the bars. The kiss was desperate, passionate, full of everything they couldn't say. When he pulled back, both of them were crying. "I won't let them hurt you," Taeyong promised. "I'll fight for you tomorrow, and I'll win, and then we'll figure out the truth together. And if you die, then I'll die knowing that at least once in my very long life, I loved someone completely." He kissed her again, softer this time. "Get some rest. Tomorrow will come soon enough." He walked away, and Moreo sank to the floor, her heart breaking. In a secret chamber elsewhere in the compound, Min Jae paced while Miran watched him with calculating eyes. "He's going to fight for her," Min Jae said. "My brother is going to risk everything for a woman he barely knows." "Because he loves her," Miran said, her voice tight with jealousy. "I can see it. The way he looks at her, touches her. He's never looked at me that way." "We need to end this tomorrow," Min Jae said. "If father told them about the prophecy before he died, he did." I could tell from Taeyong's face. Miran stood, walking to a locked cabinet. She opened it to reveal an ancient sword, its blade gleaming with an otherworldly blue light. The Dragon's Bane, forged 800 years ago from meteoric iron, blessed by monks, cursed by demons. The only weapon that can kill a true dragon. Min Jae stared at the sword. "If I use this, if I kill my own brother, you'll be the undisputed Lord Dragon," Miran finished. "And I'll be yours. Isn't that what we've always wanted? I wanted the throne. I wanted my father's respect. I didn't want." His voice broke. "He's still my brother." Miran moved close, running her hands up his chest. "He's the obstacle between you and your destiny. Between us and our future. Tomorrow, challenge him yourself. Make it look like you're defending your father's honor. The clan will respect that. And when you strike him down with Dragon's Bane," she smiled, "everyone will believe you're the true heir. And the doctor? She'll die too. An unfortunate casualty." Miran's eyes gleamed with malice. "No one will mourn a foreign stranger who murdered Lord Dragon." Min Jae wanted to protest, wanted to say this had gone too far. But he'd already killed his father, or rather, he'd watched Miran do it and done nothing to stop her. What was 2 more deaths when he'd already crossed that line? "Tomorrow then," he agreed. Miran kissed him, but her mind was elsewhere, already planning. If she couldn't have Taeyong alive and devoted to her, she'd settle for having him dead and unable to be with anyone else. Especially not that Nigerian doctor who'd somehow stolen his heart in a matter of days. The next day arrived too quickly. Moreo was given a black dress, traditional Korean mourning clothes, and led out to the ceremonial grounds. Snow fell steadily as hundreds of clan members gathered in a large courtyard, forming a circle around a marked arena. She was forced to kneel at the edge, guards standing close by. The elders sat in elevated positions, their faces grave. Taeyong entered the circle dressed in his Armani suit, black as midnight, his long hair tied back. He looked every inch the deadly warrior he was, but Moreo could see the tension in his shoulders, the grief still fresh in his eyes. Park Taeyong, the eldest elder, intoned in Korean, which someone translated for Moreo. You stand as champion for the accused, Dr. Moreo Adenaku, who is charged with the murder of Lord Park Kunseo. Do you accept the terms of combat? Victory or death? I accept, Taeyong said firmly. And who will challenge on behalf of the deceased? Silence. Moreo held her breath, waiting to see which elder would step forward. They'd probably choose their best fighter, someone trained. I will. Moreo's blood ran cold. Min Jae stepped into the circle, and in his hands was a sword that seemed to pulse with blue light. I challenge my brother, Park Taeyong, Min Jae declared, for the honor of our father and the future of this clan. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Moreo tried to stand, but guards pushed her back down. No. She screamed. This is murder. You're all witnessing premeditated murder. The guards forced her to silence, but she continued to struggle. Taeyong stared at his brother, hurt and betrayal written across his face. Min Jae. Why? Because you've always stood in my way, Min Jae said, his voice carrying across the courtyard. Father loved you more. The prophecy chose you. Even the woman I wanted. His eyes flicked to where Miran stood in the crowd, her gaze fixed hungrily on Taeyong. Wants you. But today I take what's mine. The throne. The power. Everything. The brothers circled each other. Taeyong drew his own sword, standard issue but clearly well-maintained. Min Jae's dragon's bane seemed to hum with energy. I never wanted any of it, Taeyong said quietly. I would have given it all to you, brother. The throne, the title, everything. Because I love you. Liar. Min Jae lunged forward, and the fight began. It was brutal and beautiful at the same time. Both brothers were incredibly skilled, their movements almost too fast to follow. Taeyong was faster, more experienced, but he was fighting defensively, trying not to seriously hurt his brother. Min Jae fought with the desperation of someone who had everything to lose, every strike aimed to kill. Their swords clashed again and again, the sound ringing across the courtyard. The crowd watched in awed silence. Then Moreo caught movement in her peripheral vision. Miran was moving through the crowd, something concealed in her hands. When she found her position, she pulled out a crossbow, already loaded with an arrow. No, Moreo breathed. She saw where Miran was aiming, not at Taeyong, but at her. The arrow flew. It hit Moreo in the leg with tremendous force, and she screamed, the pain white-hot and all-consuming. She collapsed onto her side, blood immediately soaking through the black dress. Moreo. Taeyong's head whipped around at her scream, his concentration broken for just 1 second. It was enough. Min Jae drove the dragon's bane sword through Taeyong's abdomen with a sickening sound of tearing flesh. Time seemed to slow. Taeyong looked down at the blade protruding from his stomach, his eyes wide with shock. Blood bloomed across his white shirt beneath the black suit jacket. Even immortals can die, brother, Min Jae whispered, close enough that only Taeyong could hear. With the right blade. He pulled the sword out and Taeyong collapsed. He managed to stumble to a nearby pillar, sliding down it until he sat with his back against the stone. Blood spread across the snow around him. His eyes found Moreo's across the courtyard, and in them she saw love, regret, and goodbye. No, Moreo sobbed. Despite the arrow in her leg, she began to crawl toward him. No. Taeyong. The pain was excruciating. Every movement sent shockwaves through her body. But she kept going, dragging herself across the snow, leaving a trail of blood behind her. Ne sarang, she whispered in the Korean he'd taught her. My love. Taeyong. Please. Min Jae stood over his brother's body, then turned to the crowd. Miran appeared at his side, slipping her arm through his. Together, they looked like the perfect ruling couple. From the ashes we rise. Min Jae shouted, raising the bloody dragon's bane. A true dragon never dies. The clan members, believing Taeyong dead and Min Jae the victor, dropped to their knees. All hail Lord Dragon. All hail Park Min Jae. Moreo finally reached Taeyong. She gathered him into her arms, his head resting against her chest. His eyes were closed, his breathing stopped. He was gone. No, you promised, she sobbed, pressing her hands to his chest. You promised you wouldn't leave me. Come on, please. I brought you back once, I can do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. She started compressions, but her injured leg made it difficult. Blood loss was making her dizzy. Still, she tried. 1, 2, 3, 4. Please, Taeyong, please come back to me. Nothing happened. His chest remained still. Moreo threw her head back and screamed at the sky, a sound of pure anguish that echoed off the mountains. Footsteps approached. Min Jae stood over them, the dragon's bane still in his hand. You cost me my brother, he said coldly. You cost me my father's love. Now you'll cost me nothing. He grabbed Moreo by the throat, lifting her away from Taeyong's body. His fingers squeezed, cutting off her air. Do it, Moreo gasped. Tears streamed down her face, but she met his eyes with defiance. I don't want to live without him anyway. Min Jae raised the sword, preparing to drive it through her heart. And then a hand caught the blade. Min Jae froze. Slowly, impossibly, he looked down to see Taeyong's hand gripping the dragon's bane, blood dripping from where the blade cut into his palm. The entire courtyard went silent. Taeyong stood, his wound glowing with blue ethereal light. Before everyone's eyes, the hole in his abdomen began to close, flesh knitting back together, the light intensifying until it was almost blinding. His tattoos, every single one, began to shimmer and move like living things, forming the shape of a dragon that wrapped around his body. His eyes opened, and they were pure electric blue, glowing with ancient power. No, Min Jae whispered, backing away. It's impossible. The dragon's bane should have killed you. Taeyong's voice, when he spoke, resonated with something more than human. The dragon's bane can kill dragons. But I'm not just any dragon. He released Min Jae's sword and stood tall, the wound completely healed. His presence seemed to fill the entire courtyard, and one by one, the clan members began to remember the old stories, the ancient prophecies. I am the Dragon Emperor, Taeyong declared, his voice carrying to every corner of the compound. Reborn through 800 years, living countless lives, dying and returning in each generation. The prophecy didn't choose me. I am the prophecy. Images flashed through his mind, memories flooding back from lives lived centuries ago. He remembered dying on battlefields, being reborn as infants in the Park bloodline, living entire lifetimes before dying and beginning again. Each time, he'd forgotten his true nature, living as a mortal until death revealed his immortality once more. You tried to kill me, brother, Taeyong said, looking at Min Jae with eyes both ancient and sad. For power. For a throne that was never meant for you. The elders fell to their knees. The Dragon Emperor lives. All hail the true dragon. One by one, every clan member knelt, everyone except Miran. She stood frozen, her face twisted with rage and disbelief. Everything she'd planned, everything she'd done had failed. And worse, Taeyong was looking at Moreo with such love, such devotion, that Miran knew she'd never have him. If I can't have you, she snarled, pulling a hidden dagger from her sleeve, then no one can. She lunged at Taeyong. No. Despite her injured leg, Moreo threw herself forward, putting her body between Miran and Taeyong. The dagger sank into Moreo's side, just below her ribs. Moreo. Taeyong caught her as she fell, his voice raw with fear. Guards immediately seized Miran, wrestling her to the ground even as she screamed and fought. Moreo looked up at Taeyong, blood spreading across her dress. I told you, she whispered, touching his face with a shaking hand. I'd save you. Again. No. Taeyong pressed his hand to her wound, but the blood kept coming. Stay with me. Please, Moreo, don't leave me. Worth it, she breathed, her eyes starting to close. You're worth saving. Her hand fell away from his face. Her breathing stopped. No. Taeyong gathered her close, his whole body shaking. Moreo, wake up. Please. Power surged through him. The full power of the Dragon Emperor finally awakened. He placed both hands over her wounds, and blue light poured from his palms, flowing into her body like water finding cracks in stone. From the ashes we rise, he whispered in ancient Korean, words from 800 years ago. A true dragon never dies. And neither will you. I won't allow it. The light intensified, becoming almost blinding. Moreo's wounds began to close, the arrow in her leg pushing itself out, the stab wound knitting together. Color returned to her face. Her eyes flew open, and she gasped, sucking in a huge breath. Taeyong? She whispered. He pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. I've got you. I've got you. You're safe now. Around them, the clan remained on their knees, witnessing the miracle. Taeyong stood, bringing Mireya with him, supporting her weight easily. He addressed his brother, who still stood frozen in shock. Minjae, you killed our father. You tried to kill me. By clan law, the penalty is death. Minjae closed his eyes, accepting his fate. But I won't kill you, Taeyong continued. Because despite everything, you're still my brother. And I love the brother you used to be before jealousy consumed you. Gasps from the elders. You are exiled. Stripped of the park name, stripped of all clan privileges. You will leave these lands and never return. If you do, the sentence will be carried out. Taeyong's voice was firm but not cruel. Living with what you've done is a harsher punishment than death. Minjae's face crumpled. You should kill me. It would be a mercy. Perhaps. But mercy is what separates us from monsters. Guards came to take Minjae away. He didn't resist, walking like a man already dead. Taeyong turned to Miran, who was screaming and fighting against the guards holding her. You shot an innocent woman, he said. You stabbed the woman I love. You conspired to kill my father. She doesn't deserve you. Miran shrieked. I've loved you for years. Years. I've waited, I've planned, I've done everything. Love doesn't destroy, Mireya said quietly, still leaning against Taeyong. Love doesn't kill. What you feel. That's obsession. And obsession is entirely different from love. Take her away, Taeyong ordered. Same sentence as Minjae. Exile. Forever. As the guards dragged Miran away, she screamed curses and threats. This isn't over. I'll be back. You'll see. I'll destroy everything you love. I'll. Her voice faded as she was taken from the compound. Silence fell over the courtyard. Then, as one, the clan members rose and bowed deeply. Long live the Dragon Emperor. Long live Lord Taeyong and Lady Mireya. 6 months later, the compound had transformed. Where there had been snow, cherry blossoms now bloomed in pink clouds. The palace had been decorated for a celebration, the most important in 800 years. Mireya stood in a private chamber, looking at herself in a full-length mirror. Her wedding dress was a masterpiece, a fusion of Nigerian and Korean traditions. The bodice was Korean hanbok style in pure white silk, but the patterns embroidered on it were traditional Yoruba designs in gold thread. Her long straight hair was styled up with traditional Korean pins, but she wore her mother's earrings from Nigeria. She was a perfect blend of both worlds. Taeyong entered, and his breath caught. He wore royal hanbok in deep black with gold dragon embroidery, his long hair perfect, his presence commanding yet gentle. You're beautiful, he whispered. So are you. She turned to face him. Are you ready for this? I've waited 127 years for you, Mireya. I'm more than ready. The ceremony was held in the main courtyard, with hundreds of clan members and representatives from allied families in attendance. When Taeyong and Mireya entered together, walking down an aisle lined with cherry blossom petals, the crowd erupted in cheers. The elders performed the traditional rites, binding them together with red thread, blessing them in ancient Korean. Then Mireya added her own vow in Yoruba, words her mother had taught her about love and commitment. Taeyong repeated them back to her, stumbling slightly over the pronunciation, making her laugh. When they were declared husband and wife, the kiss they shared was witnessed by hundreds but felt private, intimate, a promise between just the two of them. From the ashes we rise. The clan chanted. A true dragon never dies. Long live Lord Dragon. Long live the Dragon Queen. Weeks later, Mireya stood in the palace gardens at sunset, one hand resting on her rounded belly. She was 3 months pregnant, and already she could feel the baby moving, stronger than normal, more active, almost as if the child was already displaying enhanced abilities. Taeyong came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist, his hand covering hers on her belly. Turnya, she said in Korean, her pronunciation now perfect. I love you, my immortal dragon. And I love you, he replied. My savior. My queen. My everything. Do you think our child will be like you? Immortal? I don't know. But whatever they are, they'll be ours. And they'll be loved. They stood together, feeling the cool breeze, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and pink. For the first time in 800 years, Taeyum felt complete. He had someone worth living his immortal life for. In the distance, neither of them noticed the figure watching from the mountains. Miran stood there, but she wasn't alone anymore. Her eyes, which had once been brown, now glowed red. Dark energy swirled around her like smoke. In her hands, she held an ancient scroll, the Dragon's Curse. A voice that wasn't quite hers spoke, deep and otherworldly. The Dragon Emperor killed me 800 years ago. But curses are eternal, and I will have my revenge through his child. Miran's body convulsed as the demon within her grew stronger, feeding on her jealousy and hatred, using her as a vessel for its ancient vendetta. When the child is born, the demon continued, I will corrupt it. I will turn the dragon's own offspring against everything he loves. And he will watch helplessly as his child destroys his world. Starting with her. Lightning flashed across the sky. Demonic laughter echoed through the mountains. Back at the palace, Moreo felt a sudden chill and pulled closer to Taeyum. For just a moment, her belly glowed faintly red beneath her hand, then faded so quickly she thought she'd imagined it. Are you all right? Taeyum asked, concerned. Yes, she said, shaking off the feeling. Just tired. Let's go inside. As they walked back to the palace, hand in hand, neither saw the dark clouds gathering on the horizon or heard the whisper of ancient evil awakening. The dragon had found his mate. Their child would be born blessed with immortal power. But an old enemy had returned, and the real battle, the one that would determine the fate of their family, their clan, and their world, was only just beginning. If you enjoyed this story and want to see what happens next, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment part 2 below. Trust me, you're not ready for what comes next. The dragon's curse is coming, and when Moreo's baby is born, nothing will ever be the same. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Until next time, stay blessed.